Okay, folks, I'd like to welcome you to another post-game conversation where you get to hear directly from Tribe Football alums. For this post-game conversation, we have Mr. Wade Harrell. How you doing, Wade?
I'm doing good, Dante. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is amazing. We played together, so not often do I get to interview someone that I played with and who actually played the same position. So that makes this even more awesome, Wade. So I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm just looking forward to an awesome interview.
Yeah, I love what you're doing with these. I've been a big fan and then watch them all. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So tell everybody what position you played, if they don't already know, your major, and the year you graduated.
Yeah, so I came in to William and Mary as a linebacker, and as you know, in our time we had I think three defensive coordinators, so positions changed a lot. Played a lot of D line, bandit, things like that. I my major was kinesiology, and then graduated in 2005, which doesn't feel like as long ago as it is.
So you're close to the 20. We just celebrated I just celebrated my 20 last year. So you're getting close to your 20, man. It's pretty
Yep.
awesome. So you're a Virginia guy. So tell us, about your journey to William and Mary from Virginia to Virginia.
From Virginia to Virginia. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
grew up in Smithfield, Virginia, so about 45 minutes outside of Williamsburg, and you know, got recruited by Alan Williams. I remember my visit to William and Mary, and at the time, I still wasn't sure I wanted to stop playing baseball, and so William and Mary was a good fit where I thought, hey, if the itch is still there, potentially I could do both. So story changed once I got there, as it always does. But
Absolutely.
yeah, not far from home, pretty local kid. Played in the Bay Rivers district in high school, which included three of the Williamsburg schools. So yeah, it was not too far away from home, but far enough.
Yeah, that's good. I was opposite. Anything close to home for me, I did not want to go. So I
Out.
had some offers close, but Williamsburg was perfect for me. But all right, so you chose William and Mary, which we're all grateful that you did, Wade. And tell us about your experience at William and Mary.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny when we talked prior, Dante, and we shared some stories about that, like coming into William and Mary as an athlete back then, right? That you might not have been afforded the same things that athletes in other places were. Like I remember what the Reggie Bush scandal was going on while we were there. That's not what was happening at Wayman Mary. You
Not
were
close.
no, you were looked at differently, quite honestly, and sometimes it was a barrier. Sometimes you didn't want certain professors back then to know, right? And
Yeah.
so it was different to adapt to, and I think for a lot of athletes that maybe didn't fit in, like having that brotherhood or camaraderie within athletics was really important. Obviously, with the team you come into, or you come in with, and so that's what I remember. And it's funny as I look back on my time at William and Mary, I'm extremely grateful. Incredible connections, lessons learned, and things that happen there that the value of hindsight's really, really good.
Yeah.
And so I look back on it fondly, but when you and I went down memory lane of like those first couple years, I was like, man, it was
It's
hard. It
rough.
was
Yeah.
hard, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, getting in there and unfortunately in the career you sustain some injuries and but that also created opportunities to meet alumni like you've had on here, like Wayne McMasters was my first PT.
Yeah.
Back
Wade.
after the first spring game, dislocating my ankle, having a surgery, and having no idea what the rehab process looked like. So yeah, I look back on the experience fondly. Obviously, I met my wife. I owe my first career to alumni. I've had many mentors from there, and so it's good. I mean, if you fast forward to the highlight of the career, it's obviously fast forwarding to 2004 when we made that magical run, and got real close to a national championship, and got to get close to what those feelings might have been like, and unfortunately couldn't close it out in the end. But
Yeah.
but I liken that, Dante, to how we started here, right? Like that year was awesome, and hey, we can go deep on anything you want to about that year, but to
Yeah.
see, to come in and have the first few years where you're an outsider, and then to see the student body show up to games, to see sellouts at Zabel Stadium, professors showing up, the community coming
Mhm.
together. It was really cool. It was really cool. It was validating. It was humbling to be able to, feel like you'd made an impact in that way. And then obviously a lot of the changes that sparked down the road with Laycock Center investment in different parts of athletics, and a lot of the funding that came after that. So that was for sure the highlight. You know, that was
Yeah,
for sure the
absolutely.
highlight.
I'm a little sad I missed it. I was 1 year off. I was the build up to that. I think we were, I don't know, 5-5 or something. That was the year that was shortened by the hurricane my senior
Yep.
year. So we were the prep to you guys' magical season. One of the things I remember about you in my last year was the VMI game where you had two interceptions from two tip passes from
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
so I just wanted one of those, Wade. But it was a good game. We normally had good games against VMI, and it was cool that the last year for us was a catapult to greatness for you guys, and you were that short, that close, right, to going all the way. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um,
If you think about it, you guys closed that year, I think, with 3 wins, though, right?
I think
So
it
the,
was
the,
pretty good.
found,
Yeah,
the
Lang started to
foundation
really
started.
roll. Yeah.
Yeah. 2003, I missed that entire year, torn Achilles year. And then kind of to come back, I mean, the catalyst was, we were picked to be like dead last in the conference. No, there were no external expectations anywhere. Honestly, we lost a lot of talent when you guys left. So, but it was the whole team stayed for that summer. And it was like, all right, we're going to put a bet on ourselves that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work as hard as you do.
Yeah.
And that pulled through. There were a ton of close games. I mean, 2 or 3 overtime games that year, but there was a level of confidence, Dante, in the fourth quarter, especially defensively, is like, hey, if we can get one more stop and give the offense the ball, we're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
worked really, really well that year, and it was a fun ride for
Yeah,
sure.
so cool. So cool, Wade. Thanks for going back down memory lane.
Yeah,
Got the hairs like standing up on the back of my neck. So played the last game at William and Mary, hung up the cleats. Tell us about your journey from, that last game, professionally to where you are today.
yeah. And so it's taken a couple turns. So I was fortunate to meet an alumni named Russ Brown, and he was class of 74, Lou Holt's first recruiting class, played with Joe Montgomery, and he offered me a position in the real estate development world. Now, I eventually became his son-in-law, which was actually even better position, right? So I met my wife at William and Mary, but worked for Russ and learned a ton of things about leadership, about sales, about the business world. So he opened my eyes to a ton of avenues and gave me a lot of exposure into areas that were really interesting to me. After the '08 financial collapse, and then a couple of years later, some of the resorts we were developing around went bankrupt. There were a lot of challenges that came in those years after '08. So my journey took a path back to grad school, and I ended up going back to PT school at the Medical University of South Carolina, where I was able to reconnect with Wayne and get his advice on, hey, I'm in my 30s now, trying to make this journey, and
Right.
Wayne was great and gave me great advice, obviously, and that journey kept us in South Carolina for about 17 years, and then about 3 years ago, we had an opportunity to move up to Illinois. And so, right outside of Chicago, I currently work for ATI Physical Therapy. So, it's the largest physical therapy practice under one brand. And the Illinois market that I get the fortunate pleasure of leading that team is the largest market by state that we have. So, it's been a exciting and humbling journey to get into healthcare, but a lot of us have that personal tie that, hey, we went through it, and we found a mentor in that helped us get back to our goals, and to be able to pay that forward to other people is really special.
That's amazing. And you're perfect for the job, man. Just catching up with you and just remembering when we played together, man. You're perfect for the job. They're in great hands. Um, so it's this has been just amazing. We could go on and on. And I'm sure we will after we edit or cut. But is there anything you want to leave with folks?
Well, I'd say it's really interesting, and it's true, right? Like, I mean, if I look at myself and the way I look at William and Mary now versus how I started, there's a piece of maturity there. Okay, like there's things you don't see. There's lessons you don't learn that people are trying to tell you about, but like do a lot of reflecting. Enjoy the heck out of your time there if you're there. And then, find your next mission after. And that can be in your work, it can be in your family. For us, as I mentioned, my father-in-law, Russ Brown, he passed away 10 years ago with leukemia. So we started a foundation called For the Win after him that continued to, fund research out of MD Anderson that affected a lot of lives. And, enjoy every second. You never know what you're going to have or what you're going to be gifted. But live in the moment as much as you can and be appreciative of those that bring you along. Because one day you're going to have to be that person for somebody else, or you're going to get to be that person for somebody else. And it's it's the gift that you can't replace.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Wade. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to catching up or continuing to stay in contact with you.
Yeah, thanks, Dante. Appreciate the time.